The two-day G20 Summit has concluded, and here are the key moments from the event. The Group of 20, which represents a significant portion of the global economy, kicked off the summit by welcoming the African Union as its newest member. Indian Prime Minister Modi invited African Union President Azali Assoumani to join world leaders at the summit's opening. G20 leaders were divided on the Ukraine conflict stemming from Russia's invasion last year. India tried to reach a consensus on a statement that expressed less criticism of the war, but official statements indicated differences in views and assessments of the situation. Kyiv Foreign Ministry spokesperson Oleg Nikolenko criticized the G20 statement, saying there was nothing to be proud of. G20 leaders could not agree on gradually reducing the use of fossil fuels, despite a UN report highlighting its importance in achieving net zero emissions. This is concerning because G20 nations are responsible for about 80% of global emissions, and their failure to reach an agreement affects upcoming climate talks in the UAE. On a more positive note, the G20 did commit to tripling global renewable energy capacity, recognize the need to limit emissions by 2025, and acknowledge the importance of reducing greenhouse gases by 43% by 2030 to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor was announced as part of the Partnership for Global Infrastructure Investment, where G7 nations collaborate to fund infrastructure projects in developing countries. This corridor is seen as a competitor to China's Belt and Road Initiative. The corridor will establish a reliable and cost-effective cross-border ship-to-rail transit network, including a rail link, an electricity cable, a hydrogen pipeline, and a high-speed data cable. It aims to create rail connections between Europe and the Persian Gulf nations, such as the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Israel, potentially reshaping trade and connectivity in the region.
We commit to invest alongside with you on this road, and this is a very important project from Asia through Middle East to Europe to offer big opportunities and connect people.
Now let's see the highlights of Day 2. Prime Minister Narendra Modi concluded the summit by handing over the G20 Presidency gavel to Brazilian President Lula da Silva, marking the end of the G20 Summit held in Delhi.
प्रेसिडेंसी का गेवल सौंपता हूं।
President Lula da Silva outlined Brazil's three priorities during their G20 presidency: combating hunger, transitioning to clean energy, and reforming global governance institutions. Two task forces will work towards these priorities: the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty and the Global Mobilization Against Climate Change. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announced a significant climate aid commitment, calling on leaders to collaborate before the COP28 summit in December to reduce carbon emissions and support vulnerable economies in dealing with climate change consequences. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron met during the G20 summit in Delhi to discuss various issues, including trade, defense cooperation, civil nuclear projects, and support for global governance reform and development funding. Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.